solving inequalities, you're going to follow the same rules as you do for solving equations. The only difference is you have to keep in mind that when you are multiplying or dividing by a negative number, you change the direction of the inequality. It doesn't work if you're multiplying or dividing positive numbers, and it does not work if you're adding or subtracting. It only works when you're multiplying or dividing a negative number. So I'll give you an example of that in a second. But first, let's start with some other problems. So to solve this inequality, I'm going to start by adding 9 to both sides. And when I do that, I am left with 4x over here is greater than or equal to 7 plus 9, which is 16. So now to solve this, I'm going to divide both sides by 4, and x is greater than or equal to 4. So that means this inequality is true for any solution where x is greater than or equal to 4. This next one, we have negative 6 is greater than or equal to, I need to distribute this 3 to everything that is inside the parentheses. So this is going to be 3x, and then 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Sorry, it looks really bad when I record, I'm sorry. Okay, so now I'm going to add 6 to both sides. This is 0 is greater than or equal to 3x, and then this minus 6 plus 6 cancels out, and so I'm going to divide both sides by 3, and so 0 is greater than or equal to x. Now, I prefer to write them so that the variable is to the left. It just helps when you're graphing. So this is the same thing as saying x is less than or equal to 0. And so either one of these works. They mean the same thing. But this tells me that x can be any value where x is less than or equal to 0 will work in this inequality. All right, now we have negative 2x minus 7 is greater than 5. So we're going to add 7 to both sides. So this leaves us with negative 2x over on the left is greater than 5 plus 7 is 12. Next, I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. And because I'm dividing by a negative number, that means I'm changing the direction of my inequality. So it's going to be x is less than negative 6. Because I'm dividing by a negative number, I have to change the direction of my inequality. And 12 divided by negative 2 is negative 6. All right, 3x is less than or equal to 5x plus 8. So here we have a variable on both sides of the inequality. So we want to move it so that there's the variables on one side, and then we have number on the other. So that way we can have a solution to the inequality. So I'm going to move 5x over here. So to do that, I'm going to do the opposite operation. So I subtract 5x from both sides. 3x minus 5x is negative 2x, and that's less than or equal to, this all cancels out, 8. Now I'm going to divide by negative 2 on both sides. This cancels out, excuse me, leaving me with x, but because I divided by a negative 2, I need to change the direction of my inequality, is greater than or equal to negative 4. So any value greater than or equal to negative 4 will work in this inequality. All right, again, we have a variable on both sides, so we want to move them. It doesn't really matter what we start with here. But remember, if you don't see a symbol in front of a number, that means it's positive. That means that you're adding it. So you're going to do the opposite, is to subtract it. So I'm going to move my variable to the left. So I'm going to subtract 4t on both sides. So this cancels out, leaving me with 7 minus 9t, because 5t minus 4t, or negative 5t minus 4t is negative 9t, and that's less than negative 2. Change colors. Now I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides. This cancels out. Negative 9t is less than negative 9. divide both sides by negative 9. And because we divided by a negative number, we're going to change the direction of our inequality, so t is greater than 1. Negative 9 divided by negative 9 is positive 1. And then the last example I'm going to give you, we have 7 plus 4b is greater than or equal to 3b. So I'm going to subtract 4b from both sides. And again, it doesn't really matter which one you started with. This leaves me 7 is greater than or equal to negative b. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 1, so that way I can get rid of the negative, because remember, negative b is the same thing as negative 1 times b. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 1. When I do that, 7 divided by negative 1 is negative 7, and that's greater than or equal to b. But remember, I like to write mine the other way. You don't have to. So this is really, or written the other way, this is b is less than or equal to negative 7. So either one of these work. This would be my preference, but either one of them work.